Never, right? Right? Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And welcome to my very long wait to my Chucky Season 2 review. I planned on doing this after the season ended back in 2022. Oh my god, 2022 was 2 years ago. Oh my god. And then I planned on reviewing it back in October of 2023, back when Season 3 was premiering, but then I found out it was going to be split into two parts, so I thought might as well do it when Part 2 of Season 3 comes out. So, this is my review for Chucky Season 2, right before the second part of Chucky Season 3 comes out, which premieres on Wednesday, or whenever this comes out. Maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow. Excuse me, whenever this video decides to come out. But for me, it's tomorrow, so I have to wait like 12 hours or 24 hours. Did I say 12 hours? I mean 24 hours. So yeah, this is a very long overdue review for me. I keep planning on doing it. I put it on my schedule when to do it, but then when I finally go to do it, something happens or something weird. It's very complicated, but I finally found the time to do it. I'm in a big Chucky mood. Part 2 Season 3 is coming out tomorrow. I'm in a huge Chucky mood. I got my shirt on. I got my pajamas ready for that too. So, here are my thoughts on Chucky Season 2. Finally. Yes, I do know I did little short reviews on each episode every week back when they were coming out back in 2022. Back in 2022, I did little short episode reviews after they aired, just giving you my quick thoughts. So if you want to go watch those, they're really old. They were like a young me when I had like a really shitty computer and that wasn't the best quality, I'll say. So it also didn't have the best sound quality. So I will say that if you do want to go watch my old video, then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but just do know that they're pretty old. And I believe my thoughts have changed the last 2 years or year and a half now. But yeah, I do have those up if you want to go watch those. But just to let that all out of the way. So I'm going on too long, but so I'm gonna shut up now and just give you my thoughts on this season of Chucky. Up with my positives on Chucky Season 2, something that I really like consistently through every episode of this season was Brad Dourif's voice acting. He is the voice of Chucky. He has been the voice of Chucky since the very beginning. He is my Chucky. I don't see anybody else doing it. Mark Hamill does do a good job as Chucky, but I don't think he is Chucky. But something about this season, I do think he does his best in a very long time to where he does different voices. He does, like, different, like, vocal voices for him. Like, you got a buff Chucky that has, like, a really mean, tough Chucky. And then you got the guy that plays the Godfather. I forget that guy's name, which is a reference to Apocalypse Now. And then you got, like, a good Chucky that has, like, a more sweeter voice. And then, of course, you got, like, the original Chucky. There's, like, a lot of other ones out there that probably are different, but Brad Dourif's voice acting, it's outstanding in this. I like how he does different voices for the Chuckies. He does, like, different things for them. He makes them like their own character, like he has done in like the previous ones, like in season 1 and Cult of Chucky, and he brings that over back to here. I think he does a great job in this. I think he does his best in a very long time. Not saying that he's been bad, but I do think he's doing his best in a very since the first movie. I say this is his best voice acting. But yeah, Brad Dourif, he does great in this season with different voices, and I just like seeing him doing like different voices for Chucky. And you know, when it comes to television, they have very short budgets. They don't have the biggest budgets in the world. But this also does carry on to season 3, and I do think the gore in this is pretty good to where it's very gnarly. It shows like a lot of explicit. It's my favorite kill in this like entire season, and it's the one that comes to my mind a lot. Is when Devon saw while the priest like explodes when Chucky's in him, which I'll talk about later. That kill was really gory, and I loved the practical effects there. And Don Mancini said when he was making season 1 that he wanted to be this entire show to be completely practical, and he keeps that going throughout this, and I think he does a really good job here with that. And the gore, it's amazing for someone who's a huge gore hound. I'm a huge slasher. When it comes to slashers, they have great gore, and this show it has a lot of it, especially for a TV show on USA and Sci-Fi that premieres on cable. It's impressive that they're able to get away with that. But again, when it comes to television, which have very short budgets, it's good in this. I do think that the gore is very explicit. It's awesome. Again, once someone who's a gore hound, it was great. Someone who I feel gives the best performance out of like human characters and the oldest people wise. I would say Fiona Doruff does a great performance here. I would love to see her do something outside of Chucky one day. Not saying that she needs to get away from Chucky or leave Chucky forever, but whenever Chucky decides to pause or the Chucky content decides to slow down a little bit, I would love to see Fiona Doruff go do other things because she is a fantastic actress. She gives some of the best performances in this entire season, in this entire series, really. She's great in this out of every, like, adult actor, and probably the entire series alone. She is the best in it. She gives, like, good performances to where she's able to play Nica, but at some points also play Chucky. She does a really good job there. Like, when she's playing Nica, I feel she gives off good performances, like freaking out, getting mad at people. Like her performances there are fantastic, and I absolutely love them. And I think she does like some of her best performances like ever in this season alone. But we haven't seen her much in season 3 yet. But out of the entire series of Chucky, I think she gives her best performances in this season, probably her best performance yet, because what they do to her after cutting off her arms and legs, I do think she's able to still give a good performances without any limbs, which is mostly just talking and facial expressions. I do think she's great in this. I would love to see her do something outside of Chucky, but probably won't happen because she loves this franchise so much. But good on her. She's great. I think she gives the best performances out of like everybody besides from Brad Dourif, which is mostly voice acting. But yeah, she's great. I think she gives the best performance out of everybody. New character that was brought into this season and who's a character that I really enjoy and is a character I like the addition of until what they do to her later on, which I'll talk about, and that is the character of Nadine. I really like the new character of Nadine. I think she's really cool. I think she's a pretty likable character, and like her bonding with Lexi, with her and Lexi, like their relationship in this season is great, which I'll talk about. I think her character is a good addition, although she's like a really goofy person. Like in some places she's like really goofy and kind of like socially nervous around people, where she's really goofy and like she kind of reminds me of like kind of a clown. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but that's what she reminds me of. I do like the new character Nadine. She's very likable and how she has like this loving relationship with Good Chucky and teaches like kind of like treats it as like a pet, kind of how much she loves it. I love Nadine in this season. It's a shame what happens to her, which I'll talk about. I think she's great in this season. I really like her addition to it. I thought her her and Lexi becoming friends was a great thing in this. I really enjoyed her character. She was I really like seeing her in this. She was very I didn't care for her at first, but the more the season went on, the more I started to like her and the more I found her likable and relatable in some areas. And and throughout the season they develop her more, like we find out that her mother was a drug addict at one point and she kept losing cats and cats kept running away and all that, and you find out about her tragic childhood, and it's sad, but I like learning more about Nadine, and I wish that she survived in this season so we could have seen her go other places throughout this series, but unfortunately that didn't happen. This person I really like seeing return, and I thought this was weird at first, but Devon Sawa, he's a great actor. I absolutely love him, especially for Idle Hands and Final Destination, which are the main movies that he's known for at this point. He did play two roles in season 1 of Chucky, where he played Jake's father and uncle, which were two twin brothers. I loved him in that. I thought it was great to see him in that. I really liked him in that. And when I found out that he was going to come back for a brand new role for this season, I didn't know how to feel about that, but I do feel along with season 3 so far, I do think he's able to make the character feel new in a way to where he makes the character feel like it's like a new presence, to where you feel like it's a different actor playing him. Devon Sawa was just a great guy to see in this Chucky franchise, and I love looking on Twitter and him having beef with Chucky. That shit's pretty funny. And so every time he comes back, I'm like, well, these two are gonna have a fight again. So yeah, kudos to Devon Sawa to be able to come back and play a whole new character after your character's already died. But I will admit it's kind of awkward having Devon Sawa's character, the father, who's the father of this film at this church, who's like the main person, like principal, kind of like when he's in like the same room as like Jake and Lexi and Devon and all that. It's weird because Jake's father who's played by Devon Sawa, and his uncle, who's played by Devon Sawa. It's kind of weird because it's like, well, why does he mentally think about that? But then in the second episode, I remember he goes, he kind of reminds me of my dad. So I do like how they kind of poked fun at that in a way. But yeah, I love Devon Sawa. I of everything he's part of, I seem to end up loving him most of all in it. And again, kudos to him for able to come back for another season of Chucky and just play a brand new character. So kudos to you. Going back to Nadine, something that I really liked about this season and something that they really build up and like really pay off in this season is Lexi and Nadine's relationship in this season, which I'll talk more about Lexi soon, but something that I really enjoyed about this season is seeing their relationship and seeing their bond as friends and seeing them grow as friends into where Lexi is like the drug addict throughout the first two episodes or a few episodes, but then Nadine comes around and starts to talk to her and starts to build a relationship with her and helps Lexi get out of her drug addiction and helps her get sober in a way. Kind of has like an intervention with her. Like their relationship and her and those two becoming friends and Lexi growing as a person because of Nadine. That is something I really liked seeing in this season. That is one of the main things that they really develop in this season. That is something I really loved seeing in this. So that is something I really enjoyed. Every time those two were on screen together, it was so wholesome in a way, and it was just nice to see that, and it also kind of developed Lexi to become more of a person in a way instead of like a drug addict, which I really like seeing, and I like seeing that growth as Lexi. And seeing Nadine become her friend was great, and I just thought their relationship was great in this season, and it's a shame that they ended up killing Nadine, but yeah, I really like seeing that. It's one of my favorite parts of season two of Chucky. That is just something that I just kept really liking through every episode of this season. So something I didn't think I would like in this season. Um, when they first introduced it, I thought Chucky was messing with them, but Good Chucky.
There. That's better.
Good Chucky is so cute in this season. I even showed this to my mom a few weeks ago. I showed this season to my mom who hadn't watched it yet. And she was like me when I was watching this. I thought Chucky was messing with them and getting in their heads and making them believe that he was good. But then later on, that episode is going to show, oh yeah, I'm not brainwashed and tries to kill them again. But Good Chucky is so damn cute in this damn season, and I want to see him come back because it's a shame that he ended up becoming fully evil again because the good Chucky left the bad Chucky. I want to see good Chucky come back one day. Fingers crossed. Come on, Don. That's something I really liked about this season. Bring him back. And good Chucky, he's so damn cute in this. He's so loving, and he was just a pleasure to be around. That's the Chucky I want. That's the Chucky all of us dreamed about. That's like every Chucky that everybody wanted back in Child's Play. Like Andy just got this killer doll version. Well, everybody just got the sweet, wholesome, loving one. That's the one I want. I don't want this guy. He's just killing people. Let's get this guy. He actually hugs people. He actually loves them. That's the Chucky I want. Something that I really excuse me, voice crack. And something that I really liked that they brought back for this season, and something that I was glad to see come back. Now, I'm not a big lover of Seed of Chucky, but there is something that I do like about it, and that is the Glenn and Glenda stuff in that movie. And I'm glad that they brought it back for season two. When they announced it, I didn't know how to feel about it because it's like, well, they've been gone forever. Why bring them back? But I like seeing them, and I do like how it's the same actress playing both characters, both Glenn and Glenda, and how they kind of continue doing that things like they don't have like a specific gender and they go by they them. I did like seeing them in that, especially Glenda, who I believe is the softer one that doesn't want to kill people. I did like her development in this. And Glenn, who is like the one who's traumatized in a way and is trying to rebuild her relationship with her mother and her father, who both kind of abandoned them in a way. And especially when you get to see the Glenda doll in episode 5. I believe the episode was, and them transferring their soul back into the doll. I thought it was pretty cool, and for people who are fans of Seed of Chucky, probably like that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do think it's a okay film. But yeah, I did like seeing Glenn and Glenda return. They are a great addition to this, and they actually like develop them, actually do something with them, and they don't completely waste them. And I think the actress who plays both parts, I think she did amazing in this. My final positive is I do like how they develop Lexi a lot more. I feel she is the main character from season 1 that is actually that is actually written well and fully developed, because Jake and Devon, they're mostly focused on their relationship, which kind of became one of the more annoying aspects of this season. But I did like what they did with Lexi. I think what they do with her, I think is great. To where I kind of talked about it a little bit with with the Nadine Lexi relationship, to where she's like a drug addict and still like suffering the events of season 1, and is a drug addict, and she's kind of like struggling with that, and then she slowly gets out of it, but then has a relapse after Nadine's death. Excuse me, and that is something I really liked about the season, is just about Lexi, because she is the best written character out of these 3 new characters. I think she's probably the best performed out of all of them, really. And I forget her actress's name, but I did really like her in this. I do think that she's a better character in this, because in season 1, I despised Lexi for the first half, and I really wanted to see her die a painful death, and it's a cool redemption arc to see one of the most despicable characters that we all want to see die to one of the best written characters of the entire series, which I thought was interesting. On my mixed aspects, there is one Chucky in this season that I don't know how to feel about, and that is the buff Chucky, the big strong one.
List, all right, along with Devon and Lexi. I don't usually eat cream puffs, but today's a cheat day.
This guy's stupid. I'm gonna be completely honest. This guy is dumb, because he shows up like at the end of like the like 3rd episode, I believe. Yeah, it was 3rd episode, because that's when Good Chucky happened. And he kills the bully by punching a hole through his chest, which I thought was badass. And then he comes in, and then he has a fight with like Good Chucky, and then he like dies, but then is resurrected, and he is apparently supposed to be Jesus himself to this like one nun. I don't know how to feel about him, because they kind of waste him too, because they don't really do much with him. Because I do think that it is one of the better voice acting roles that Brad Dourif does for the Chuckies in this, but I don't know. He's really weird in this season of what we get to see of him, and he's like the one Chucky I was just like, uh. Moving on to my negatives. I don't know how to feel about like the meta jokes in this. It's not like a huge negative. It's just something that bothered me in this. It's something I don't feel fully works for this series. It works for me for Bride of Chucky, because it still had those like big horror moments in here and there. But this one, they just go complete camp, and they just make Chucky a joke. Like there's parts in like episode 4 especially, where it's like that's like a huge meta episode, where that entire episode is basically making fun of like Clue as like a murder mystery thing. And then you have like this talk show through it, where Chucky at the beginning, he's talking on the phone. He has like his own Chucky show about that, and they show that again at the end. And then he ends up killing Liv Morgan from WWE. It's like stuff like that is stupid. And something that really bothered me, and I understand, I've seen the tweets or the interview, whatever one it was, about Don Mancini trying to explain this, but it just made no fucking sense to me. And that's like the Bride of Chucky reference, to where when we get to see the Bell doll in the beginning of this series, at this beginning of the season, where we see it, Jake and Devin look into it and they say, "Oh, yeah, that doll looks a lot like from Bride of Chucky. You know, the one with Jennifer Tilly? Oh, yeah, that one was good." It's like, if I'm not mistaken, Seed of Chucky, the film in that was called Chucky Goes Psycho. And I understand Don Mancini tried to explain that, but the way they say it in this, it's like, well, that just feels like it's poking fun at the Bride of Chucky movie, but why even write that down? Why not just say Chucky Goes Psycho? Because when we think of Bride of Chucky, we think of the 1998 film, which is probably a lot of people's favorite Chucky movie. It's in like if I were to do a ranking, it'd probably be in my top 3, top 2 probably. I love that film. But when you say that in this season, it feels like you're poking fun at it. But again, I understand Don Mancini tried to resolve it. I understand that he put out the tweet. But why even write that down, though, is the thing. Like, you wrote that. If you have to tweet about it, explaining it, why did you write it down? Just put in Chucky Goes Psycho. Enough said. But there's also just a lot of other meta jokes in this that just did not completely work for me. There are some horror movies out there that could work for me, like the one that comes to my mind is Scream. But at this point, they're just making Chucky a huge joke. So what happened to rules anymore? There's like zero rules in this season, in the series at this point. Like, you get like a buff Chucky, which I talked about. Like, at this point, you might as well have a Godzilla sized Chucky just come in. And at this point, none of us would be surprised because, like, oh, huh, yeah, because we got like Good Chucky, Buff Chucky, fucking Colonel Chucky. It's like, well, at this point, there's just no rules. And then they do stuff in here. It's like, shouldn't they, like, die? And I've seen people say this on Twitter back when this was coming out. And when I was questioning things, I was like, well, that's kind of dumb. You want to know what the main thing is? It's just Chucky. If that is your explanation, oh, it's just Chucky, on why there's no rules, then fuck you. Something at the end of this season that I just did not care. I don't think any of us were surprised by this. And get the hell out of here with this last doll bullshit. Like, how many times has there been, like, the last doll in this franchise? Because you got the first, you got the second, you got the third. Child's Play films where Chucky dies at the end. But in the sequel, they find a way to bring him back. And then this season, they do this bullshit at the end where Chucky says, I'm the last doll. If I die, I'm never coming back. And was anybody surprised when we found out there was another Chucky doll at the end? Was anybody surprised? Show hands. You put your hand down. I know you're lying, motherfucker. But it's like, how many times have we done this? The last doll. Oh yeah, suck my dick, dude.
A bullshit? A bullshit.
There's no way that there's the last doll. Like, you know they're gonna bring in another Chucky doll. Like, you know they're gonna have like another Chucky out there running around. And was anybody surprised when we found out the Belle doll was actually Chucky just in makeup? I wasn't, because I called it when the season began. But it's, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why Don wrote that down. But hey, I'm not a writer. I can't choose things apparently. But I don't know. But how many times have we done this with Chucky? Like, Don, I know this is your creation and this is your work, but us as fans, we already know that there's another Chucky out there. So don't even bother with that bullshit. I've already kind of talked about this, and killing Nadine, I didn't like how they did that. I really liked the Nadine character. I thought she was a great addition to this, but unfortunately they killed her off, which I was a little upset about, but it's more a nitpick, if anything, because I really like what they were doing with Lexi and Nadine, and I was really hoping to see that carry on more to the end of the season, possibly up to season 3 if we ever got it at that point, which we did. And it's a shame that we saw her get killed off, but it's more of a nitpick, if anything. Something this series really has in common, but this is where it really stands out, is when they introduce something and you think it's going somewhere, and then they quite literally just like kill it off. Like, they like the main one that comes to my mind is like the Jennifer Tilly doll. We find out since See the Chucky that Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany, has kept Jennifer Tilly in this Belle doll, the doll that she was in Bride and Seed of Chucky. She has kept her in this bird cage that you can see the X mark on her head. You can see that she's kept her alive and making her do all the things that you think Jennifer Tilly is doing. And then, what do? Well, they bring her in, they keep her alive, and then you find out Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany, needs to go back in that Belle doll because she doesn't want to be human anymore. So what do? Jennifer Tilly escapes, and you think they're going to go somewhere with that, but then she gets hit by a car. And then there's another thing when it comes to, like, a bully. There's a bully that used to bully Lexi back in, like, 5th grade or something like that. So, used to bully Lexi at one point. But then her mother sent her to this Catholic school where Jake, Devon, and Lexi are now all going to. And now there's, like, this whole conflict between those two, and you think that this guy's gonna keep bullying Lexi and then make her like the big bitchy a bully once again, or maybe she wants to overcome that and be the bigger person, something like that. But when they do something with that, when he plants drugs in her room, what do? Chucky comes in and just kills him right after that, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, I hate that they did that throughout this entire season. You think they're gonna do something, but then they don't do it. Like another thing with like Chucky, this guy keeps like taking photos of people and keeps taking photos around the school, and then you find out there's like this whole plan going on. They're trying to get Chucky to tell them why, but then they accidentally brainwash him, and then they get rid of that, and it just goes nowhere, and they don't even fucking express it at the end of the season, or at the end of this whole bullshit when we even find the Colonel. They don't bring it up, and it's like, well, why introduce that? Do you just want to get Chucky in there to get to Clockwork Orange him for a reason? Which I don't know. I seriously don't know why they did that. I hate that Don does that because he's been doing it constantly throughout the series. He did it a little bit in season 1. He did it constantly in this, and so far he's doing it a little bit in the 3rd season already. I hate that he's doing that, but it is what it is, I guess. Unfortunately, I hate what they're doing with Nica in this season because they haven't really done anything with her because since her limbs are gone, she can't really fucking do anything. It's mostly Chucky that's doing the stuff in her body. Like she seriously can't do anything because she's trapped with Chucky. Like you seriously can't she can't do anything. She's not doing anything. And whenever Fiona Dorff is on screen, it's the Chucky in her, and then she is trying to get Chucky out, and then there's also like this plot going on to where they're trying to kill Tiffany. But again, that doesn't go anywhere. But I hated what they did with Nica by cutting off her arms and legs. I did not like that. It was something that they did. I didn't talk about it in the first season because I thought they were going to do something here. But unfortunately, they didn't, and that's a huge issue with me because they don't do anything with Nica, and cutting off her arms and legs, I feel, was the horrible move to do because now she feels powerless. And again, I don't like what they're doing with Tiffany, and I don't really care what they're doing with her in the 3rd season right now because what they're doing with her, I just hate, really. I hate saying the word hate, but they are making her way too comedic, way too goofy for my liking because she's watching like Liar Liar, she's quoting it, she's like kind of social to herself now. I just don't like what they're doing with her to where the comedic aspect of her character is just pushed way the fuck up. And I really hope that one day we get the Tiffany that was in Bride of Chucky to where she's like this sexy foxy, murderous girl, but in this it's just like a clown at this point because what they're doing with her, what Dawn is doing with her, I just don't care. And you know Dawn Mancini is going to keep writing her in every season because those two are like really good friends now, ever since Bride of Chucky. And I really hope that one day we go back to the Bride of Chucky Tiffany because what they've been doing with her with this season and now the 3rd season, I just unfortunately I have to say I don't like Tiffany anymore. All in all, guys, is Chucky season 2 a horrible season? No. Is it a bit of a step? Is it a bit of a step down from season 1? Yeah, a little bit, but it's still a decent season. I wouldn't say it's a horrible season, but this season is definitely not going to be for everyone. If you're a huge fan of Bride and Seed of excuse me, if you're a big fan of Bride and Seed of Chucky, maybe the season will work for you. Maybe this is more to your liking. But someone who's a more darker Chucky fan, this one didn't completely work for me, but I do think it's a solid installment in this Chucky universe. It's not the worst thing I've seen from it so far, but I do think it's one of the weaker ones. But Chuck Season 2, it's okay. I would recommend it if you love Bride and Seed of Chucky. But for everyone else, maybe hold back a little bit. What do you guys think about Chucky Season 2? Have you watched it? What do you think about it? Do you prefer it over Season 1 of Chucky? Do you prefer it over Season 3 of Chucky so far? Is this your least favorite season of the Chucky series so far? Oh my god, this was a long video. Let me know in the comments below, and we all shall talk about it. If you liked this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe to the bell notification so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And look out for my little short review of Chucky Season 3 Part 2 coming out tomorrow on Wednesday, or today on Wednesday, whenever this video decides to come out. So, again, thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you all next time.